the rewind technique. In this video, I'm going to outline some of the basics of the rewind technique. What's the point of that? To release, to let go, and to move on from the bad memories of your life. Stay tuned. My name's Tait, and this is Fork in the Road YouTube channel. So let's get started on this video, and I'm doing it at one of the most iconic places in Australia, Surfers Paradise Beach. So give me a little bit of Mother Nature behind us, something very nice as a backdrop. So I'll take you through, and I'll attempt to walk and talk at the same time using just my phone camera and walking with my arm outstretched. So if my arm gets tired, I'll change hands, and I'll try and keep the people, as many tourists around, out of the shot if I can. And so the rewind technique, what's the whole point of the rewind technique? The whole point of it is to release the bad memories in your mind. And I've had a couple of really intense sessions with clients in the past where an old memory, a period of time in their life, was causing them problems. So we'll start with the why frame. Why are we even talking about the rewind technique? To release trauma, to let it out of the body. Caveat, the main caveat is, as long as it's not still happening, right? If it's still happening, there's some stuff to look out for. There's some stuff to resolve. But if this stuff was 10 years in the past, 5 years in the past, will never ever happen again, and it's still causing you problems in your mind, the rewind technique, the fast phobia technique, the visual kinesthetic technique, whatever name you want to call it, but the rewind technique works really well. And so the rewind technique is something that we all can use usefully to release those negative loops that are stuck. So that's the whole reason why. And I've had examples of people who have had big trauma that's causing them physical pain in the body. You know, electrical shocks down the legs, sore teeth, all sorts of things where it's impacting on their everyday life. And so that's the reason why, well, we don't need that stuff if it happened 10 years ago, right? Now, I've studied this and I've used it on myself, I've used it with clients, I've used it in YouTube channel videos, which has attracted people to my channel. So I thought, I know too much, I need to actually share what I know. And so that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so that's why we're going to release negative memories that are hijacking our entire body. Okay, that's why. What are we talking about? We're actually going to turn the memory or the period of time into a movie. That's the first component, turning it into a movie. Now, some people do that easily, they already have the movie. Other people are more feeling based, so we have to turn the feelings into a movie. And other people are more auditory, so they need to turn the sounds, the things that the people said, into a movie. But you can do it, we're all capable of the visual. And so you've got these visuals, you're turning them into a movie, you've got these feelings, you're turning them into a movie, or maybe you already have pictures and you turn that into a slideshow, as I get past the blower vac. And so you can turn those pictures into a slideshow. And it's really useful then to have that movie. Once you know what the movie is, you already know what it is, you've already got one. You can then turn that movie and use it. You have more control than you think. Okay, so you got your movie. That's step one. You've got to have a movie. Step two is we need to establish a very safe place before the movie, a safe memory where you are feeling safe, you're feeling secure, you're in a good place. And we also need to establish a very safe place after the movie, right? So this is step two, a safe place before and after. And once you've got your safe place before and after, maybe it was, you feel that you're at the beach and you're relaxing and it's a memory of feeling very safe and there's not a worry in the world, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Didn't have worry in the world before, and you didn't have a worry in the world afterwards. And everyone can access that, even if it's this moment. There's no worries right now. We're actually very safe. So you got the movie, step 1, step 2. That's the lifeguards giving a bit of advice. And so you got the movie, step 1. You've got the safe place before and afterwards, step 2. And now that you've got that, what's great as a person like myself helping you is I don't need to know the details of the movie. You don't have to tell me a thing. And what we do is we then put you into step 3 is what I call the movie theatre. And the movie theatre technique is another name for this process. And you're in a movie theatre and we're going to do a thing called a double disassociation. So step 3 is going to the movie theatre with your golden ticket, and you're going to be the master in control of that movie. And you can do anything you want with that movie. But in particular, you're going to be sitting in the back row of a movie theatre watching that movie. And then you're also going to go and float out of your body and float back to the projector booth where you can't see the screen, you can only see you in the back row. That's the double disassociation. Now you can do things to that to make it happen faster, happen slower. You can do things to have it so that you're further away from the screen if you really have a big traumatic event. And this is why at the start on videos on YouTube, I try and make sure that you have some very positive resources to lean on. So you don't have to worry about the people getting triggered. You don't have to worry about the movie causing you this massive trauma. And that's not what we want. We don't want that massive trauma. And we want to make sure that you have the resources to get through it. But what's great is you don't need to tell anyone. You don't need to tell the therapist. You don't need to tell the NLP practitioner. You don't need to tell the healer or whoever it is you see. You can just have the movie, you know it's in your head. You've already played it probably 1,000 times. And you can then rewind that movie. Okay, so you're in a movie theater. You know the movie's on the screen. We haven't started playing it yet, but you start off with your very safe place. All right, so those are the building blocks of the rewind technique. You turn it into a movie. Step 1. Step 2 is a safe place before and afterwards. And step 3 is you take the person into a movie theater. And it could be you're taking into this movie theater. And you double disassociate by floating out of your body, sitting there looking at the screen, into the projector booth. And the person in the projector booth can't see the screen. That's you. You can just see you reacting to the screen. So those are the basics. And then in the movie, you go through a procedure which I'll outline in the next video, that allows you to get through that rewinding of the movie. Now, what's interesting is when I'm rewinding the movie later on, and I'll do that in the next video, I put all sorts of funny noises and sounds, and I put things that don't belong in the movie, right? You've got a movie, it's got a soundtrack, it's got things that you know that were said, things that you know that you saw, things that you know that you felt, and I go and put in different things in there with you. And of course you can put different things in there that just don't match. Now I will often oink like a pig, or I'll quack like a duck, or I'll what else will I do? Just anything. I'll do the oompa loompa, oompa dee doo, you know, noise. I maybe put the circus music, which is what I got from watching Richard Bandler do it many times in many ways on videos on YouTube. And so you put different things into the building blocks of your memory. And there's a thing called reconsolidation. What you're doing is you're taking this memory, you're accessing the file, going into Adobe, editing the file a little bit, changing it so that you can then, the memory's still there, the memory is still your memory, but it doesn't hold into your amygdala. The whole point of this is to release the memory from the amygdala. That's the point. And when you release it from there and it reconsolidates back into normal memory, it just becomes a thing that happened that you've learnt the lessons from, which is a piece I like to throw in too. So those are the basics. What are the basics? Going back over it again, we have to make a movie out of the memory or the time span of your life that caused that trauma. We have to find a safe place before and afterwards. We have to get you into a movie theater scenario where you're going to play that movie from safe place through the movie to the safe place. And then later on, we will, in the next video, rewind it and turn everything backwards. And when you do that, it's like, oh, the brain says, that's not how I stored it. And it starts to let it go. So that's the basic building blocks. The movie, the safe place before and after the movie, and a movie theater scenario where you double disassociate. That is the building blocks of the NLP fast phobia, the rewind technique. It's also called the double disassociation technique. It's called the VK or visual kinesthetic disassociation technique. What was the one I said before? Oh, there's so many names for it. And so you've got this double disassociation, the movie theater technique, which is what is the double disassociation example. That's a metaphor for distancing yourself far enough that you can do something to the movie. That's the whole point. So in the next video, now I've broken down the componentry of the double disassociation. We will then go into how you go about the next parts, which is the rewind itself. Obviously, if you're with a client, if you're with someone or you're doing it yourself, don't do something across a video like this straight away as the biggest, most traumatic thing you've ever done. Do it something that's annoying you, some memory about someone who disrespected you at work or someone who didn't serve you very well in a coffee shop or something that annoyed you, right? Do it on that if it's looping in your head, because you want to practice the skills before you get to the big hairy monster that's there, okay? So make sure you're starting out gently on things that just annoy you. Because as someone who's helping you with therapy, someone who's helping you with your mindset, someone who's helping you as a coach, I want to make sure that you are safe, right? And I can do that when I'm with you live, or even if I'm doing a Zoom call. I can do it. I can make sure, I can see through sensory acuity as to how you're going. But if you're going to your biggest, baddest memory and it's through some YouTube video, that safety mechanism isn't there, just to make sure that you can be pulled out of it and make sure the person's safe. So those are the components. So if you're a coach or an NLP practitioner who's just learnt the fast phobia NLP technique, also known as the rewind technique, also known as the movie theater technique, also known as the visual kinesthetic double disassociation technique, all those funky names, just call it the rewind technique. If you have just learnt it, I hope this video has helped you with the components that you need to know about when you go into the process with yourself or with one of your clients. So that is it. This is Matthew Tait from Fork in the Road YouTube channel. And if you've met your fork in the road and you want to do something about it, there are many ways to heal and move forward. I'll see you in the next video of my rewind technique video series.